Hi everyone, welcome to day one of the Dating Confidence Challenge that we are doing, part of a 4-day dating challenge for you. Welcome, welcome. If you are watching the replay, happy to entertain any questions you have. Put them in the comments. So, this challenge we're doing, it's 4 days, really quick, at the most 30 minutes a day. Every day, we're going to focus on one thing, and you're going to get homework that you'll do in the workbook that you got in the email if you registered. Okay, let's dive in. So today we're talking about mindset mastery, and you'll find out in a minute why believing in yourself, your value, what you have to offer relationships is so helpful when it comes into feeling good about dating. And today's goal is to replace one limiting belief with a powerful affirmation about your worth. However, before we go there, for some of you, I am new to you. So let me tell you a little about who I am and what I do. I am Kathy O'Connell. I am a licensed mental health counselor here in beautiful upstate New York, and I am passionate about dating and disability and how to use interpersonal skills that we all have to be successful in dating and relationships. And part of it is because when I began my career as a counselor, I had people in my office all the time, especially people with disabilities who wanted to date, who wanted to have a companion, who wanted to share their life with someone. And they also felt like their disability prevented them from having that. And that always broke my heart every time I had someone say that to me. And at the same time that then I was single, have been single a long time, and a lot of ups and downs in dating. I actually began dating early as a 14-year-old, but the catch was it was also with a person who had a disability, which that's not issue with that. The issue was I could not shake the belief that he would suggest interested in dating me because we had the same disability and he thought I could relate to him. And even at 14, I knew I wanted more for myself in terms of who would love me, who would want to be with me. So I developed at an early age the standard for relationships, for what I saw as a healthy relationship. And this is that I had many ups and downs. At one point, I was even engaged, but then that blew up, and I'd spent many years alone. But I always kept working on my skills and what it took to be in a good relationship and believing that I could attract a good relationship to me because that's what I wanted. So fast forward, and I have one particular date that is very awkward and intense. It's my first date with this guy, and at that same point in my dating career, I figure, okay, I need to bring up the fact that I have a disability on the first date because it's like the elephant in the room, and if we don't talk about it, I'm not gonna hear from the same person again. So on that particular date, I take a deep breath. I say, "How are you doing with me having a disability?" Tears roll down his face, and he whips and bursts. I'm so uncomfortable. And I think I am never going on a date again. This is way too hard, way too painful. Let me crawl under the table right now. But I had enough awareness to know that crawling under the table, avoiding your problems, avoiding hard conversations doesn't solve anything. So I took a deep breath. I remembered who I was, and I took a breath. And I said to him, "Well, I do have cerebral palsy. This will be with me for life. This is who I am. And this is what makes me a good partner." And I began talking to him about my strengths as a person, as a potential partner. And the next night, we began talking more, and he said, "Well, I don't know if I can date someone with a disability, but you're so confident that get to know each other." Well, as you can see from this picture, we definitely got to know each other. We have now been married for 17 years. And I tell this story because it was so pivotal in my life that I realized, okay, when we just accept, when we fully accept who we are with whatever difference we have, disability, weight, body size, personality difference, whatever difference it is that you feel you have, that is a barrier to connecting with other people. When you approach that as accepting it and letting it empower you as a person, as a potential partner, that's when things really begin to change and you make more meaningful connections. So I wanted to give you that backstory of my personal experience with this work. As I said, today we're talking about mindset. So we're looking at our limiting beliefs around dating. And I'm just making sure we are recording this. I always hit recording and then I like get into it and think, oh, did I hit recording? But luckily I did. Okay, so what are limiting beliefs? These are stories we tell about ourselves that hold us back. Keywords hold us back. And if you have a disability, a story maybe no one wants to date someone with my disability, or it could be I should be grateful for any attention, or I'm asking too much. I know for me it was I didn't feel I would say attractive enough because of my disability. And maybe some of these sound familiar to you. And these are beliefs that shape how you act, how you interact with others, and obviously, how you interact with others shapes the results you get in dating. Okay, so where do limiting beliefs come from? They can come from perhaps rejection or breakups, societal messages about disability, well-meaning but often harmful advice, maybe a fear of vulnerability, maybe comparing yourself to others. But the good news is these are just thoughts. Our beliefs come from thoughts, and thoughts can be changed at any time. So we want to help you develop better thoughts and therefore have a better impact on your dating experience. Because when we have these negative stories in our heads, we don't put ourselves out there. We tend to settle for less than what we deserve. We hide parts of ourselves. And maybe we even self-sabotage good things happening to us. So it's time to take an inventory of what you believe about yourself, especially when it comes to dating. So hopefully you all got the workbook that I sent out yesterday. And it's in the workbook for all 4 days. And we break it down by each day. So today, obviously, only look at day 1. And I want you to think about 3 limiting beliefs you have about yourself when it comes to dating. When do these thoughts, and we can remember beliefs are really thoughts. When do they show up most? And how do they impact your dating? Like, for example, if you feel not attractive or desirable, do you show up maybe being quiet, more withdrawn when you're meeting people, more afraid of rejection? How do you show up that way? Be honest and don't have any judgment, have compassion and awareness for yourself. Okay, then you gotta challenge your beliefs. So for each limiting belief, I want you to ask yourself, is this 100% true? What evidence contradicts it? And I will tell you, back to my belief from when I was single, that I was unattractive because I had CP. I know it's a weird connection, but that's what I was believing at the time. And I actually said that to a friend that I felt unattractive. And the way she looked at me, like in such and disbelief, her face began to show me evidence that what I was believing was not true. So look for evidence that contradicts it. Also, would you say that belief to a friend? Why not? You know, sometimes we're the hardships on ourselves and we would never say things to other people that we'd say to ourselves. And then what would you believe if you loved yourself more fully? What would you believe? So an example might be no one will want to date me. That's a belief. And we're going to challenge it by saying, I know people with disabilities in happy relationships. Why can't that be true for me as well? Okay, then we're going to develop affirmations. So affirmations are how we rewire our brain to think more positively about stuff. So we want to put them in the present present tense. So we'd say, I am attractive, and not I will be attractive when I lose some 5 pounds or I get my braces up or whatever. So, but in the present tense, be positive, state what you are, not what you're not. So, example of this would be you don't want to say, like, I'm not ugly, because our brain tends to focus on whatever comes after the word not. So we want to frame our affirmations in a positive way. I am attractive. You want to make it personal and meaningful to you, and you want to be able to believe it. So examples of some good affirmations are, I am worthy of a partner who celebrates all of me. I bring valuable gifts into any relationship. I deserve love and respect exactly as I am. Okay. More from your workbook. So if you go on to the next page for day 1, and I'm right there with you looking at my book. And we're gonna work on creating your own affirmation. This is where you're gonna choose one limiting belief from the previous page, and you're gonna create one powerful affirmation to counter it. And if you want to put it in the comment area in the chat, I would love to hear your powerful affirmation. You want to write it if you're able to, type it, put it in your phone, whatever. Say it out loud and, play with it so that it feels authentic to you, and then practice saying it every day. Okay. So how do you make this habit stick? Well, you use your affirmation because you want to see it every day. You want to say your affirmation every day. This is how we rewire our brains. So set maybe a daily phone reminder. Say it into the mirror each morning. Write it or type it in your journal. Say it before any dating action, even before, say, you go on an app. Say your affirmation to yourself so that it gives you the encouragement before you take the action. So this is how we rewire our brains for more positive beliefs. And if you say your affirmation every day for 30 days, then you will be more likely to really believe it, really begin acting as a person who believes you're attractive, worthy, confident, whatever your affirmation is. Okay, so I promise that we will be quick on these trainings every day, and that I would try to keep it to under 30. And probably tomorrow will be even shorter because I won't need to share my background with you. But let's wrap up what we talked about today. We talked about identifying limiting beliefs and challenging them so that you can create more empowering beliefs and rewire your brain for more dating success. I do have homework for you. Hopefully, it will be fun homework, but say your affirmation at least 3 times in today. Notice when your limiting beliefs show up and challenge them. So when you find yourself thinking, oh, no one will date me, catch that thought and bring in the new empowering belief of, yes, of course, Sabiha will date me. And then especially if you're on live right now, or if you're even taking the time to watch this replay, celebrate yourself for showing up, because dating is hard work, and we don't really talk about the work involved in dating. It takes a lot of reflection, self-awareness, determination. So by you just showing up, you're doing yourself such a favor by learning this so that you can improve dating for yourself. Okay, so tomorrow we are gonna identify your 10, and you have at least 10 relationship syndromes. So I'm gonna see you tomorrow, same time, 12 noon, and we're gonna talk about your syndromes. I will throw out that the one thing that they are doing electrical work in my neighborhood, so there could be a slight technical issue with tomorrow. We're gonna keep our fingers crossed that there won't be, but when there is, I'll record things and send them your way. Okay, so with that, I will offer it from there any questions. And for those of you who want to connect with me further, that sends to my email, and at Reading Abilities is where I'm at on social media. And please show up tomorrow for day 2, day 3, day 4, because if you show up live, you get the learning, and as you know, it's always so much better when you show up live. So I'm gonna stop the share, and hey, Lucas.
Hi.
And it's so good to see you. Any questions?
Not really right now.
Not really. Okay. Um,